Hey Canucks fans, Brock Boeser is looking good, he's feeling good, and he's looking forward to getting back with the team before the end of the regular season. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Friday, February the 21st. Canucks will practice later this morning ahead of their big game against the Boston Bruins tomorrow night. With the Vegas win last night, the Canucks have fallen to third in the Pacific Division, but they have a couple games in hand on Vegas. I think they're tied in games with Edmonton, 1 point behind Edmonton, 2 behind Vegas. So the Canucks are still right in the thick of things, and right in the thick of things heading up to the trade deadline on Monday, which I'll get to in a second. So last night, you guys know that I was at the Meet the Team event, one of the catch-all events for season ticket members. There are a couple thousand people there, I think. It was a lot of fun. You saw that I took my nephew, Lucas, brilliant little kid, a lot of fun, 8 years old. Technically not my nephew, but it was a lot easier than saying that Lucas's mom's brother is married to my wife's sister. He's half Filipino. I'm married. My wife is from the Philippines, although she's Chinese in blood. Filipinos, they call everyone like uncle and aunt in a good way, like in a lovable way. So he was my nephew for last night. Like I said, it was a lot easier, and we had a great time. For the way that they structured the event, instead of just dog pile and everyone just go to a free for all, they actually had the big six of the core four of Hughes, Pettersson, Horvat, and Boeser, of course. I can't believe I forgot that. Along with Jacob Markstrom and JT Miller, the six of them were kind of like the marquee stations, and then you had other guys that had big lineups like Stetcher and like Toffoli and Pearson who were not so coincidentally paired together. And then you had so that was kind of cool. So basically we went to line up in the Boeser station. That was the one we were assigned, and then it was you can kind of go to anyone after that, but the lines were quite long, and it was really funny because Lucas, as an 8-year-old, he wasn't interested in lining up in any lines. He just wanted to walk around, taking the sights and sounds. Just all the kid wanted to do was eat and drink, which was fine. That's probably, which was fine with me. And then, so we ended up lining up for Boeser, which I'll talk about in a second. And then we didn't line up in any other lines. Rather, we just kind of walked around, looked at players, met people. I met a lot of you that watch these videos. Thank you once again, or that follow me on Twitter. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, it was a good night. And then he was getting a little tired, and I think in walking around, he wanted to work off his food because, like I said, the guy kept eating, and then we ended up leaving a little bit early, but it's fine. He's 8 years old. I can't remember. I had to keep reminding myself that he's not like even as old as my kids who are now 18, 16, and 12. The kid was 8 years old, and I got him home by 8 o'clock, just before his bedtime. So overall, it was a really good night. It was kind of cool. The first thing that happened when we walked in is Tyler Mott offered me a ice cream sundae, and I told Tyler, no thank you, but great job. Great job on Wednesday night's game, and he was very appreciative. Thatcher Demko, Jay Beagle, those guys were kind of roaming. They didn't have a station per se. And then we went to Brock Boeser Station. The Canucks ran it really well. Because there were so many people, you basically could only have one item signed per account. So I let Lucas get his calendar signed on the Brock Boeser page, which is cool. And then one picture. I got a few pictures, but basically, and the Canucks staffers handed it all, and they did a pretty good job considering how many people were there and how quickly they tried to run people through things without rushing them. It felt fine, and I know a lot of my other friends got to able to see 6, 7, 8 players if they wanted to wait in line. So Brock Boeser, you guys saw this exchange. I got a lot of love on Twitter, and I wasn't sharing anything that we didn't already know, but basically we walked up. And I think Brock recognized me, not by name, but I think I've seen him at a couple events and I've talked to him before. So he gave me a hey. Maybe he does that to everyone, but I didn't hear him say hey to everyone. So he extended his hand and said hey. I said, hey Brock, Clay here. And this is my nephew Lucas. Again, I didn't want to explain the whole thing. He goes, hi Lucas, how are you? Then we took our picture. He signed Lucas' calendar, and I said to Brock, we really need you back. And he said to me, don't worry, I'll be back before the end of the regular season. Just like that, didn't sign a contract or a guarantee, but he said like that, don't worry, I'll be back by the end of the regular season. Looked very confident, sounded very confident, and then I told him, oh, that's awesome, we need you, and if you do make it back, we'll get you into our playoff song. And he had a chuckle about that, because I think he does know that I write music with and for the team. And then after he took the picture, I just said to him, and just so you know, I've been praying for your dad. And he said, thank you, I really appreciate that. And that was it, a very good exchange. He said bye to Luke, he said bye to me, shook his hand, and then they were on to the next person. But, so of course I tweeted that, those 3 things basically. 4 things technically. I said, number 1, Boeser promised me he'll be back by the end of the regular season. Number 2, I'm going to get in my playoff song. Number 3, praying for his dad. And number 4, glad to share this experience with my nephew Lucas, or my wannabe nephew Lucas. And put that up on Twitter just for the heck of it with the picture of me, Brock, and Lucas. And has over 500 likes today, and I don't put up those tweets just to get the likes, but it picked up a lot of traction, and I think a lot of people were excited to hear Brock say that coming out of his words, his own mouth. But in thinking of the big picture, I wasn't breaking any story. I wasn't pretending to be an insider, and I wasn't trying to give myself more importance than I have, or that I think I have, or I want to think I have. But this is what we've heard publicly as well. When he got injured on February 8th in that 6-2 loss against Calgary, and then the first they said it was 1 week, then 3 weeks reevaluation, and then Jim Benning came out and said 8 weeks, maybe to the end of the regular season. 8 weeks from February 8th is April 8th. That is indeed the end of the regular season. So if he's any earlier than that, 6 or 7 weeks, that means he can play 1 or 2 weeks, the last 1 or 2 weeks of the regular season, which makes sense. That time frame makes sense. I'm not a doctor. I couldn't tell if he's early, if he's ahead of schedule. He looked fine. He was acting fine. He wasn't like he was, moving gingerly. Of course, at the same time, I didn't go and try and tackle him in the ribs or anything like that, or give him a kidney shot, because I'm not a jerk. So. But he looked fine, and he sounded fine, and he sounded confident that he would be back. But all I'm saying is this wasn't any earth-shattering news or breaking news, because we've heard that the time frame is 8 weeks. Of course, you hope to get him back sooner. Travis Green intimated that in his press conference. And if it's 6 or 7 weeks, then you have him back for 1 or 2 weeks of the regular season, and then into the playoff run. But I guess the cap situation, the ramifications of that is if the Canucks still have to keep that cap space open if they anticipate him coming back. And therefore, we hear that it's been harder for the Canucks to sign Wayne Simmonds now out in New Jersey, or trade for him, I should say, because of all the cap gymnastics they have to do. So that's, we have 3 more days to talk about that ahead of the trade deadline on Monday. It sounds like Canucks and Devils are still talking, and maybe the Canucks will have to loop back to New Jersey closer to Monday if the asking price goes down, if that's indeed the case, that the Canucks still desire Wayne Simmonds. So again, a great chance last night to just interact with Brock. Even that 1 or 2 minute exchange was a lot of fun. Very gracious when he took the picture, when we were talking about his dad. And of course, the big news, which isn't really news, but I like to pretend it's news, that Brock Boeser promised me that he'll be back before the end of the regular season. Now, obviously, we want him back. We don't want the Canucks to hold him out just for cap reasons. He obviously can help this team, and we want him back on the team. We want him back playing on that top line so that Tyler Toffoli can help his buddy Tanner Pearson and Bo Horvat out on the second line and get them going as well. So there we go. My experience last night from the Meet the Team event, season ticket member event. A lot of fun with my quasi-nephew Lucas, and a great chance to talk to Brock and see and see a lot of the other players hanging out, signing autographs, taking pictures, and roaming the concourse at Rogers Arena. So not a lot of news in this one. I just want to share my experience with you and articulate it more than a 280-character tweet last night. So there we go. Canucks fans, let me know what you think. Nothing earth-shattering there, but let me know if that makes you gives you any more optimism about Brock's return, or just what you anticipated all along, or do you want him to sit out for whatever reason so we have that cap space? Would love to hear your comments below. I will catch up on comments this weekend. But yes, please leave a comment. I'll read, react, and reply. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. I will check in with you tomorrow before I head out to the States for a bowling tournament with Kayla, and then hopefully I'm back in time to watch the Canucks game. Not going to the game, obviously, but hopefully be back in time to watch the game on TV tomorrow night. So have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.